A Princess on Lothal. This Season 2 episode of Rebels shows us an earlier glimpse of Princess Leia than we are used to seeing her in the original trilogy of Star Wars films. This takes place a couple years before A New Hope, and obviously at the beginning of that film she's just a diplomatic representative from Alderaan in the Empire's eyes. Darth Vader is the one who is like, "You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away!" Obviously, from that point forward, she's outed as a member of the Rebel Alliance, and she gets to take up a active leadership position in the organization because, well, she's been found out. What else is she going to do? But this is a point, this episode shows her before then, when she is still officially working for the Empire, but is actually supporting the rebellion. And obviously she doesn't plan to be outed in A New Hope, but once it happens, then alright, that's where she's at, and she continues on to become the Leia that we all know and love from the films. But at this point in this series, it's interesting to get this glimpse into how she is helping the rebellion from her position of power within the Imperial Senate. And while that is an interesting thing to see, and I was excited to watch this episode because it is a slightly earlier depiction of Leia on screen than we are used to, obviously discounting, now we get to see child Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which is loads of fun, and I love that interpretation. But it was, I wanted to see a point like, oh, let's look at this point between what we're seeing in Kenobi and the original trilogy. And it was fun to see, but this episode is not primarily about her, which I appreciated, because, yeah, she's a legacy character, she's very important, but you're not going to be able to tell a huge story for a character so well established before the point where she's outed as a rebel leader. So instead, she's much more here in service to the main characters of the show she's part of, which is a great use of a legacy character. Specifically, she has one scene with Ezra, who is currently contemplating the costs of rebellion after he recently learned that his parents have died in pursuit of rebellion against the Empire. She is similar in age to him, so she goes to talk to him. Ezra asks her, "Why are you a part of this fight? You're a princess. You certainly don't have to be." And she says, "Well, I figure that because I can fight, I should for those who can't." And it's a great line. It, builds on what we already knew about Leia, but also helps empower Ezra in the moment because he has Force-sensitive abilities, training under Kanan to be a Jedi. He is able to fight, and that is what his parents believed, what they died believing in, so it encourages him to continue the fight. So we get to see not only Leia appearing for the fun of it, and because it's for Star Wars nerds like me, and also just for the casual viewer like, "Ooh, Leia, look!" But also she has an impact on our main characters, even though she has just this one small appearance in this one episode. But it's cool to see her plan of like, oh yeah, we want to get these ships to the Rebel Alliance, but we can't just give these ships over to the Rebel Alliance because then we'll be outed as supporting the Rebels and we can't do anything else to support them afterwards. So we need to come up with this plan where we have these ships, we bring them to an Imperial port, and then they are stolen by the Rebels under the Empire's watch. We are now blameless, and we being the Alderaan leadership and royal family, can continue to support the Rebel Alliance. And also the Rebels now get these 3 ships that we are supplying you, but not supplying you. So it's a good plan. It's executed well. It's fun. We get to see Leia's tactical thinking, her on-the-feet thinking, which we already knew she had, but also it's just fun to watch her shoot some stormtroopers dead. It's like, yeah, Leia had no problem shooting stormtroopers dead a couple years before the original trilogy either. It portrays Leia well, has her impact with the original crew. It's a fun glimpse of how she is supporting the rebellion before she is able to officially take up a leadership role after she's outed by Darth Vader in A New Hope. So it all fits in very nicely to the overall story, the timeline, but also fits very nicely into this moment in Rebels, in that series. A good episode, a good watch, and fun to look back on some legacy characters before their main stories take into effect. Perfect. Thank you very much for watching. I've been looking at a couple different Star Wars episodes and animated things and movies in relation to new stuff that we're getting from Kenobi, and then also I hope to maybe just continue doing this going forward, because we have a lot of Star Wars content coming in the next couple of years. Subscribe if you want to see more of my thoughts on these things. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great week.